Okay, are we actually ready? That is the
Yeah,
question.
let's do it.
Let's give it a try.
We sound great.
Oh, all right. Welcome.
Welcome. Welcome.
Welcome. Welcome back to the Unhinged BookCast, a podcast hosted by Jess and LJ who love all things fantasy books. I'm LJ.
And I'm Jess, and we're happy to have you back again.
Whether we're deep diving into thoughts and theories or just riding the vibes, we love discussing our current reads with each other and now with all of you.
Tonight we have started reading book 4 in the Blood and Ash series by Jennifer Armentrout, chapters 1 through 17, The War of Two Queens. This will be another spoiler-free series as long as you've read through our current reading section.
Speaking of which, now you can discuss with us, spoiler free, chapter by chapter in our Club on the Fable app. But I promise we'll pitch in too.
Yeah. Also, please do all the things, liking, following, and subscribing on all of our platforms.
These are romantic fantasy books that are intended for adults. We will be talking about war, gore, and no pants dances.
So this is your content warning. Our discussions are not suitable for little listening ears. We hope you are all reading along with us, and we can't wait to hear your thoughts and theories as well.
Now that we have both finished reading the chapters, some of us more recently than others,
Very recently.
let's get into it tonight because it's going to be a late one for us already.
Yeah.
And it already started with me trying to get a turkey off my roof. So
And it's allergy season, so we're both sniffling and sound wonderful. So
dying over here. All right. Chapter 1. First off, it says Castile. And I was like, yes. We get a freaking Castile point of view. And I'm loving that we get to see it from both sides. Because I hate when like sometimes you get a book where like the different characters are in different places, but you only get the one point of view, so you don't know what's going on. So now we get to know what's going on in both places at the same time, and I'm loving it.
Yes, that part was so awesome. Great way to start the book.
Yes.
Do you happen to have a recap for us on how the last Blood and Ash ended?
Oh yeah.
Because we went straight to Flesh and
Oh, we
Fire after
did.
the
I
last
forgot
Blood
about
and
that. We went
Ash.
straight to Flesh and Fire.
Yeah.
Okay, my little recap for you. What happened was, so the team, the dream team, went to go meet with the blood crown, right?
Right.
We find Tawny's there, Ian's there, and Malik's there. We learn about the revenants, which are these beings that can be killed over and over again. They'll just like rejuvenate. They just like
Right.
spawn again, which like makes me think of like if you're a gamer. But
Respawn.
just wait like 5 minutes and you'll respawn. And so Malik's kind of on the queen side. We find out that this is Queen Isbeth. She is her mother. And basically she tries to obliterate her with her mind, and then so that's what the queen does to her. And Castile's like, take me instead, right? So he gets captured. And so now we are trying to get back to Castile, but first she is doing her queenly duties, right?
Right. That's
and
right.
that's
Okay.
basically where we pick up with Castile being well, he's already captured, obviously, but this is where we're at. And we have the Draken, remember? She called the Draken.
Yep, that's right.
Yep. So that's kind of where we jumped back into.
Okay. Perfect.
But so in this conversation that Castile is having with the queen, I just wanted to point out, and I know this is obnoxious to you, and I don't really care. The queen full-blown admits that Poppy was stolen
Yep, you're right.
away. Those are the words. So therefore, it is 110% confirmed that she was a stolen baby, and you can't tell me otherwise. Thank you.
You win. You got that one.
I mean, you could argue that it sounds like she was a little bit older, like she wasn't quite a babe. It sounds like maybe she stayed with Isbeth for a little bit until like it started to get suspicious, and they didn't want her to think she was Isbeth's daughter.
Right.
And then that's when she went with Coralina.
She was given to Coralina basically to be cared for, but then Coralina did steal her away and try to take her away completely.
Yeah.
Yes. So I would say yes, you are right. You got that one for sure.
Yes, yes. And then also, so she's talking with Castile, right? And she's like doing this weird thing with the fire. And it's just
Isbeth
like,
is, right?
yeah, Isbeth
Yeah.
is. She's doing this weird thing with the fire. And then that's when he's like, what are you? Or something like that. And he
Mm-hmm.
comes to the point that she's a god that's not a god or something like that,
She's a
or a
false
false
god.
god,
Mm-hmm.
which is a Demis.
Sure.
Sure. We're gonna go with a Demis, and we don't really find out what a Demis is.
Okay, let me read what I have. It kind of a little bit explains it.
Okay, go for it.
Um, because remember she goes, because he's like, what are you? And she goes, I am the thing that mothers tell stories to their children
Oh
about to keep
yeah,
them
and then
from
goes, is it a
stealing
Lemonade
and
or whatever?
the
A
Lamaya or
lemonade,
Lamaya, whatever,
whatever it is, a
whatever
lemonade.
the like thing that has tails for feet and crawls under
Fins,
their
fins for
beds,
feet,
fins for
and
feet,
yeah,
and all this stuff. Anyways, and so that's the first thing that comes into his mind. He's like, "That's what you are," and she goes, "That's cute that you think that, but no, I'm a Demis or Demis. I'm not sure, but I'm gonna say Demis."
sure. Demis.
Um.
Okay, cool.
Anyways, okay, so from this is Castiel speaking. He goes, Demis, I whispered hoarsely, my eyes widening. You're a Demis, a false god. One side of Isbeth's lips curled up, but it was the golden Rev who spoke. Well, apparently he is rather clever. At times, she said with a shrug. Holy shit, I'd believe that the Demis were as much of a myth as the Lamea. Is that what you've always been? A poor imitation of the real thing, hell-bent on destroying the lives of the desperate? That's a rather offensive assumption, but no, a Demis is not born, but made when a god commits the forbidden act of ascending a mortal who was not chosen.
Chapter 2. So now we're back to Poppy, and so this is like her first chapter that we get,
Mm-hmm.
and she is going to be going through these towns kind of one by one, eliminating the ascended and anybody that follows the blood crown
Mm-hmm.
in each of these towns. If they surrender, then they're cool. If they're, gonna hang out. And then if
She's
they are
trying to give people a chance.
trying to give people a chance. And if not, she is deleting them off the earth.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, instead of going like she wants to, instead of doing what was done before in the War of Two Kings
Mhm.
and just going basically straight to the capital,
And just,
waging war, just
yeah, burning
major,
the whole world down,
yeah.
basically.
So she's trying to kind
Keep
of
as
like
many
give the
innocents
mortals a
as
chance,
possible.
give the Ascended a chance, give everybody a chance to like go to the good side. And she knows she can't just like storm in there. She's trying to like be strategic, even though what she wants to do is storm in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they go to the first place. They're headed to the first place, or maybe they've already gone to the first place.
Um,
Um,
no. They're
yeah,
like,
they've taken the first place, which is
yeah, yeah.
Massanine, sure.
Massine? Massine?
Massine.
Massine?
And they are going underground to go find the ascended, basically, and they come across like
Mm-hmm.
caged craven.
Were they caged?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And they seemed fairly fresh, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
um and that's kind of all I had for that one.
I think the only other note I had about that, um, they do take that town because we get a little bit of the.
Yes,
It
they
really
get
wasn't
most of
much of a
that.
fight. It
No.
really just kind of was like they gave up basically.
Yeah.
Um, the only thing she noticed, the only thing I have to add here is like when she's talking to the Ascended, so the Duke, I can't remember his name, but the Duke who
Yeah.
ruled that land, Miss Massine or town,
Yeah.
in the underground chambers or whatever. She noticed that him and like all the other Ascended actually have a touch of ether behind their eyes.
Oh yeah.
Just a touch. And that was something that's obviously like it's actually always been there, but she'd never noticed it till now. I don't know if it's important or not, but she just threw that in there, which she said it
Yeah.
makes sense because they have some Atlantean blood in them because they can't turn without it. So,
Yeah.
okay, so chapter 3. So, we learn that 23 Draken had awakened and followed
Oh
Poppy
yeah, that's right.
when she summoned them. And then the youngest of them, which would be 3 of them, would be the youngest, stayed in Spessa's End to help guard them
Oh,
there in
yeah.
case the Ascended came that way. So then moving forward, they are staying in the manor. I can't remember the name of the manor, but
The Manor
the manor.
Mezzanine.
It's like manor. It's like actually like cauldron or something. It starts with a C. Is the name of the manor, but
Oh,
they're
okay, yeah.
staying in this manor at Massine after they've taken it, and they're waiting the next step in their plan, which is going to be to take Oak Ambler, which is the next town over, basically.
Yeah, and
Um,
that's where everything went down in the last book.
right. That's where Cass got taken, where they had the meeting
That's where her dad
with
was
Isbitch.
caged.
That's where her dad was caged at the time. Yep.
Hmm.
So anyway, so when they took Messine, they gave the people a chance, basically, like if you're going to the Ascended, like if you're going to be good, we'll let you live. We'll give you a second
Right.
chance. Same for the mortals and stuff. So there's this hunched, cloaked woman roaming around the manor that they
Yep.
spared. They call her the widow. They don't actually know if she was ever married or not, but that's just what they call her.
Yeah.
And she just like flitters around the palace. Flitters, I don't know if that's a word, but she flitters around the palace.
she's she's a butterfly.
She's
A
flittering.
pretty little old crazy butterfly.
Yeah. Um and so that no one really pays her any mind. And when they asked her, she like waits and like looks around like the pillars outside, and then she just kind of like wanders around, and they asked her what's she doing. She says she's waiting.
Hmm.
And somebody had mentioned that she acts more like a spirit than a mortal, but Poppy just kind of brushed it all off as like, whatever, I
Oh
have bigger
yeah,
things to
like
worry about.
Kieran's like says she's a spirit, like
Well, that's
100%.
later that Kieran said it. I can't remember who originally was like, that chick's weird. She seems like a
Yeah.
spirit. But yeah. So, and then Emil shows up, and he brings a missive from the Duke and Duchess of Oak Ambler, and it simply says they agree to nothing. That's how the chapter ends. Okay, so then we move into chapter 4. And this chapter starts with the dream. It's really not much different than her past nightmares that we've read about, except for there's one thing that stood out to me. I'm going to read it from the book. Okay, so it says, they were everywhere, speaking of the Craven, skin dull and gray and broken. And then there was the tall man in black, the one with no face. I twisted, screaming. Papa's friend stood in the doorway. I reached for him. He was supposed to help us, help Mama, but he stared at the man in black as he rose above the twisting, feeding creatures. Papa's friend jerked, stumbling back, his bitter horror filling my mouth, choking me. He backed away, shaking his head and trembling. He was leaving us. Teeth sank into my skin, fiery pain ripped through my arm and lit across my face. I fell, trying to shake them off. Red streamed into my eyes. No, 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 I screamed, thrashing. Mama, Papa. Fire sliced through my stomach, seizing my lungs and body. Then the monsters were falling and I couldn't breathe. The pain, the weight, I wanted my mama, nothingness slipped over my eyes and I was lost for a little bit. A hand touched my cheek, my neck. I blinked through blood and tears. The Dark One stood above me, his face nothing but shadows beneath the hooded cloak. It wasn't his hand at my throat, but something cold and sharp. He didn't move. That hand trembled. He shook as he spoke, but his words faded in and out. I heard Mama say in a voice that sounded strange and wet, "Do you understand what that means? Please, she must. Dot dot dot." Good gods, the man rasped, and then I was floating and drifting, surrounded by the scent of flowers the queen liked to have in her bedchambers. What a powerful little flower you are. What a powerful poppy. Pick it and watch it bleed. Not so. Dot, dot, dot. And then she jerks awake. So, a little bit long, sorry. But
No.
what stood out to me there was we get a little bit more about this Dark One, again, that we keep hearing about a
Hmm.
little bit more and more every time she has this dream. Mama, Coralina, who's not her mom, but Coralina knows something, pretty much is begging the Dark One not to basically slit her throat because it sounds like he's got a knife at her throat.
Yeah.
And then he realizes something, and then he starts calling her a powerful little poppy, which is different. It's still the creepy nursery rhyme, but
Who do you think this is?
I don't know because I used to think it was. I went back and forth between Malek and Malik,
Yeah.
brother versus uncle, now that we know
I
it's
think it's
uncle,
brother
but
now.
I know, because of the way
after
that he
this
was
chapter's come.
described when he
I
came
think
down
it's
to talk to Cass. I know, I was
and
thinking the
just kind
same
of the
thing.
way he was at the end of that one. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. I think it's I
Well,
yeah,
yeah.
I think it could be
Yeah.
him. Because the way he said,
Because
like, what did he say? We'll get there. But he
we
says
will get there
something
because he
like
does say
he says
something.
something
Yep.
like she wouldn't
About
recognize me
Poppy.
or something like
Uh-huh.
that. And I went, okay, we're
Yep.
figuring things out and I love this.
Okay.
Um, but so waking up from this dream, she kind of freaks
Right.
out and Kieran's there. And I guess like he has been there like every night since or something like that, like sleeping in his woven form next to her.
And it's been what, like
Um,
27 days or something like that.
at this point, like 26, 7 days, something like that.
Yeah.
And she says, Kieran had made it a habit of sleeping near me in his woven form, which was why he got very little sleep. I told him more than once that it wasn't necessary, but the last time I'd brought it up, he'd said, this is where I choose to be. And well, that nearly made me cry. It almost made me cry too. And I don't
Really?
know why, but
Oh, yeah.
I didn't,
Did you have a half cry this time?
I had a quarter of a cry. I'll
Of
give
a
it a quarter of
quarter.
a cry.
Okay.
Cause like I was like, damn.
I will admit I had a half cry this part of
You
the
had a
book.
half cry?
No,
Okay.
we're not there yet. I'll tell you when we get there.
Okay,
But
I will add it. I will add it as a quarter. Like there was no
yeah, you gotta
tears
add it.
actually there, but like the more I thought about it, I was like, that is so
I know.
sweet. And like, oh, I loved it. And then when they're cuddling in the end,
Hmm. I
loved it.
know. I did love
Okay.
that too.
So she kind of sneaks off because she can't get back to sleep. Karen does. She sneaks off into this library, I think it was. I don't know,
Mm, right,
old
that's right.
office. Yeah.
Yep,
And she's looking through these old books and stuff, right? And
right.
then this old lady comes in, the one that's just been butterflying
It's
around,
the
right?
widow that was flittering
The
around.
widow, the
The widow.
spirit, whatever.
Yeah,
And she's like, "What's your name?" or something else. She's like, "They used to call me Vesa,"
I
or
was
something like that.
known. Yeah, I have a couple. I actually have. But anyway, so when she's looking through these books, she notices words that are standing out to her, like the right and chosen. Um, there was one other word, I didn't write it down here, but there was one of the other, oh, ascending, right,
Ascended.
and
Yep.
chosen. They all keep popping out of her, and she's like, wait a minute. Did they have those things before? Because I thought the ascended basically were the ones who started that, like
Hmm.
the right and the whole chosen thing. And these books are old, 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 old. So then she goes, how old are these books? That's when the widow pops in and she goes, all these cryptic things, older than X, Y, and Z, and all this stuff. Um, so the first time Poppy goes, how old are these books? And then the widow goes, older than the Princess Kaylee, first daughter of King Sagar and Queen Geneva of Ireland, joined Queen as. Oh, wait. Sorry, that was it. She says that's how old they are.
Hmm.
Then, so I was like, oh my gosh, it was kind of cool reading about all this history.
Well, I
Um,
think she reads this in the book. Yeah, my eyes narrowed on the words before me. What the lifting the book
yes,
up from
yes,
my
yes, yes,
lap, I inhaled
yes.
way too much dust as I read the passage again and then one more time. Princess Kaylee, first daughter of King Sagar and
Yes.
Queen Geneva
Geneva
of
of
Ireland,
Ireland.
joined Queen Esmira of Lasagna and her
There you
consort
go.
Marisol to celebrate the rite and the ascension of the chosen, marking the dot dot dot.
Right. Okay.
Which do you remember who Esmira is?
No, I didn't recognize that name. Did I miss that?
It's Seraphina's
Actual mom?
stepsister.
Oh, are you sure?
Yes. Okay, so remember,
Yes, because that's right, because
her
Marisol is
stepdad
her,
dies
and
of natural
Marisol is
causes.
her
And
like
then
girlfriend in.
yes, that she saved, she
Oh
brought back
my
to life. She was the first
gosh.
person that was brought back to life.
Yes. How did I not remember that? I think I was
Mhm.
trying to read so fast earlier today.
Probably.
Oh, now I'm more
We both
excited. That's
finished
so cool.
reading
I
all of
love
this
this.
afternoon. So
That's so cool. And so then Vesa, she's talking to her and she's like asking her like, "How old are you?" and all this stuff. Like, where did you come from? What is your purpose here?
right. She's like, this is just some senile old lady having an
And she's like
Alzheimer's
old,
fit.
old, old. She's like, so what was your purpose here? And Vessa says that she serves the true crown and waits for, quote, the one who was blessed.
Mm-hmm.
And then she talks about the prophecy
Mm-hmm.
again. And so she says, so this is from Vessa. One born from a grave misdeed of a great and terrible primal power with blood full of ash and ice. Her words rattled her entire body, raising the tiny hairs all over mine. Quote, the chosen who will usher in the end, remaking the realms, the harbinger of death and destruction. And then she says to Poppy, you, I wait for you, I wait for death. And
Mm-hmm.
then Vessa tries to stab Poppy.
Mm-hmm.
In the process of her trying to stab her, her veil slips down because she's wearing a veil. And Poppy said, notice how like she's super, super, super old, like basically skeletal. Her eyes are milky white. And then she continues, Vessa continues on with all this prophecy stuff. And then she says to Poppy, you were born in the shroud of the primals, she screamed, and it was loud. Blessed with blood full of ash and ice, chosen. Kieran comes in,
I
and
think a whole bunch of them come in, but yeah.
I think it starts with
No,
just Kieran. It
Kieran's like,
starts with
I'm
just
not
Kieran
touching that.
because
I'm not
that's what
going
I have.
anywhere near that. He goes, it's a spirit
He's
or
like,
whatever.
so Poppy's holding on to both of her wrists and she's really trying not to hurt her because she's like, this
Right.
this chick is brittle and old. And then she's like, are you gonna help me? Basically to Kieran. And he goes, hell no, I'm not getting anywhere near her. She's a LaRue. Poppy goes, a what? And he says, a spirit. Then he calls a Mulin or somebody to come help him because he's not
Yep.
touching it. Um, and then the very last thing I have here, Poppy has her put in just like a room of her own. Kieran thinks they should either kill her, at the very least exile her, put her in like a cell, and Poppy's like, no, I'm gonna be nice and put her in a room of her own. So anyways, they get
Yeah.
her taken care
That
of.
locks from the outside.
Right. So they get Vessa taken care of. So then Poppy's asking Kieran, like, did you know that the rite existed before the Ascended? He says it didn't. She says it did, I said, and then showed him the ledgers where she was reading about this. So he says, I guess it's possible if the gods had some sort of right and that the Ascended copied it. Poppy says, I thought that over. Malik would have known about it. He could have told Isbeth. But did it stop because the gods went to sleep? He says that would be a plausible reason. He folded his arms, giving the chamber a not too discreet glance. He says, it has to be related why the gods took the third sons and daughters, I said, staring at the ledgers, and how they can become revenants, which we then learn about a little bit more later.
Yeah.
So then we go to
Chapter
chapter
5.
5. Yep, go for it.
Chapter 5. So she's having this conversation with Reaver at some point, and he is butt naked,
Yay.
sitting on a
I love
wall or
him.
something like that. I love him. And I have more commentary on this later, and it's
Okay.
hilarious. But he talks a lot about the consort without talking about the consort. Like you'd love her or she'd love
Mm-hmm.
you or like something like that, right? And I was tired of calling her the consort. What's her name? His smile vanished and his features sharpened as he stared down at me from his perch. Her name is a shadow in the ember, a light in the flame, and the fire in the flesh. The primal of life has forbidden us to speak or write her name. Oh, Um, I also have disbelief flooded me. That sounds incredibly controlling. You don't understand. To speak her name is to bring the stars from the skies and topple the mountains into the sea. And now I just want to open up the next Flesh and Fire
I
book.
know. I was so excited when I read this. I was like, this is the first mention of the consort, who we
There's a
know is Seraphina,
lot of
in
like
this.
mixing in this. And so I can
I
totally see why
am so
you were supposed to
excited.
have that one before this one. And I
Yeah,
love
I'm
it.
so excited that we are reading Flesh and Fire in the middle of Blood and Ash.
Yes. Because I think this is the published order, and this is what Jennifer, I think, said this is the way to read them. So
Well,
that's
I
what
love
order it is.
this.
I
I
love
love
it.
this. I mean, I think that even some stuff later on would this book would be a lot more confusing if we hadn't read Flesh and Fire, but there's so
Mhm.
many pieces that I'm just like, that fits,
Like
that
now we're
fits, that
connecting
fits.
dots,
I
and it's
love it
so
so
good.
much.
So
It's so
good.
cool. Yeah.
Um, and then I just kind of have about how Kieran and Perry show up with a package.
Then the last thing that I have that Leslie didn't already talk about. So yeah, this box arrives. It has Cass's finger in it and his wedding ring. It's blood-locked, though, with primal magic. It's blood-locked to Poppy's blood. And then she wonders how Isbeth was able to learn to use the primal magic. And then Perry starts talking about how his father, Sven, spent most of his life obsessed with learning about it. How nobody, like, who's not a primal will typically use it because it can anger the fates and it's just not something you do. But I don't know. Perry's got a lot of knowledge about it. His father has a lot of knowledge about it. Later on, I was a little like, I don't know. I am a little bit leery of Perry, personally, so
Oh,
far.
really? Okay.
I am. I have been since we met him. I not as much after the end of this chapter chunk, but there's still just, I don't know, there's something about him.
Something about him.
There is something about him. She keeps talking about how there's possibly a double agent because, like, with this whole box thing and
Oh,
the
that's
finger,
true. They have to
she's
figure
like,
out.
there's no way that news would have reached the Blood Queen about what's going on so quickly. Like, how, like, somebody is giving them information.
Yeah.
And, like, how would she have known to be at Oak Ambler early when we were planning to be there early? How would she have known what's going on with us taking these little
And didn't
towns so
Perry come up
quickly?
with the way for them to get in there in the last book anyway?
I
Through the
think so.
ships, his ships? Yeah.
I think so. There's always been something about him that's just been kind of off to me. And then she starts talking about this, and then Perry pipes up about, like, oh, it's the primal magic, and he seems to know so much about it. So I don't know. I could be wrong. I think it's either Perry or his dad, though, is this double agent. So, chapter 6.
Chap shit. Chapter batshit crazy number 6. Okay, so that is what happens. She goes batshit basically and scares everyone.
Yep.
Like Delano's like backing up, has his ears all tucked, and everybody's like, oh shit. And then that's when
Mm-hmm.
Kieran like comes in through her little bubble of rage and just gives her a
Yeah.
hug.
Yeah, I know.
And he's like, it's okay. And he's like holding the back of her neck and he's like, it is okay. It's gonna be
Yeah.
okay. But yeah, so he gets her to calm down. And basically, I called it again. Her and
Mm-hmm. You
Kieran are
did.
gonna go on this little adventure and they're gonna get back their man.
Yep. You were right.
Chapter 7.
Chapter 7.
We have another Castile point of view, and I am so
Yeah.
excited. Um, this is when like the handmaiden comes in, right?
Yes.
And she's in there and she's just kind of like, it seems like talking gibberish, right? Because she's trying to get,
And
she's
this is
like, your
the
hands
very
infected.
first Rev that we learn about. The, like, weird short chick.
Yeah, from last book, not the one
Mm-hmm.
that's like the golden boy or whatever that he keeps
Nope.
calling him that hangs out.
No. This is the one that that the knight stabs when Isbeth is trying to prove her point, and also the one that Poppy talks to outside the gates
Yeah.
before, yeah, after
She's the one that
everything.
told him to go get the fire of the gods, or so,
Right.
I can't remember what she says, but
Yep. Yep.
so he's talking with her, right? And she's just being kind of funky and weird. And she knows that he has an infection and she's trying to get him to bathe. And he's basically like, fuck
Mm-hmm.
you. And so then she goes, did you know these tunnels and chambers have been here for hundreds and hundreds of years? They existed when the gods walked among men. Of course, they've been expanded and added to, and now travel the length of the city. But these walls are ancient, and only a few have ever been allowed inside them. Uh, and he goes, I don't give a fuck about these walls. She says, you should. Gods walked these tunnels, as did the primals. They walked other tunnels in other cities, connecting doorways and creating magical wards made of primal essence that could keep things out or in. A god born immortal carrying the blood of the primal of life and the primal of death upon ascension was foretold. The handmaiden whispered, or so they say, and they say a lot. Either way, she broke those primal wards when she ascended into her godhood. It was clear that she was speaking about Poppy. She rested her cheek against the wall, and anything that was kept in can now get out. Eyes not so dull met mine. Two questions remain: when and where? Not even he knows. And so my thought is, okay, are we talking about Malik, like the King Malik, or are we talking about Nikos's uncle Colas? Remember?
Yeah.
Is
Are
this
we
where
talking about the
they're
he? Is that
yes.
what you're thinking? Okay.
Like,
She
is he
talks about it.
entombed in these walls? Was my thought. But
Okay.
also, okay, so think about like later when there's like a big old pit, a big or a well or whatever that goes to like nowhere. Are these like portals?
Yeah, the whole thing with the portals and like Poppy, because I noted that too.
I think the
That
walls and
like
stuff are like portals to get them from one place to another.
okay.
Because the tunnels
I
can get
didn't
you in
think
and out of
about that.
Elysium.
I will admit that I was reading like fast at this
Yeah,
point
that's
because
true.
this was this morning. No,
But
this was
yes,
this afternoon.
this is who I think.
But yeah.
I don't think they're talking about Malik when they're talking about like the
Okay,
big
but
bad.
hold on
They're definitely talking
because
about Colas
let me find it.
because he was the original primal of death before Nikos
Uh
was.
Colas was, yes.
Yes,
Right.
Colas.
Yep. Okay. Yep.
So I
Yeah,
think that's what they're
and
talking about.
Nyktos' dad, which is Ethos,
Was
was
the
the
primal of
original
life.
primal of life.
Yes.
Which we only know that because we read the Flesh and Fire.
Because we did the flash and fire. So
Um,
that's why I'm kind of
but
wondering.
I'm pretty sure though, before you go too far down this rabbit hole, I'm looking
Okay.
because okay, so right after that. So from the book, what Leslie just read, she rested her cheek against the wall, and anything that was kept in can now get out. Eyes not so dull met mine. Two questions remain: when and where? Not even he knows. And then literally the next paragraph says, I didn't even know what to say to any of that, but I caught how her lip curled when she said, he. Who? Callum, the golden boy Rev? Her laugh was throatier, more real, and strangely familiar. He's old, real old. Be careful of that one. So, I think it's Callum. Not to debunk all your theories here, because I like your theories. But she literally says Callum is the he that she's talking about, which is the golden revenant dude. Okay, off my memory because it's not in the picture and I don't feel like going to find it. But basically, she's rambling, this revenant chick.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we ever learned her name. But anyway, she's rambling. Cass Paul, like, basically says to her, you're rambling. And she goes, oh, I've heard that Poppy does that too. And he goes, yeah, she does. She almost makes it sound like they're related. Like, huh, like Ian's told me that Poppy also rambles. And that's interesting. Um, and then that's when, like, right, the part that you just read, she acts almost like she's got interest, like little qualities that are the same as Poppy. And then she calls Nyktos granddaddy, literally
Granddaddy.
in
That
the
is
thing that
true.
you said. And she kind of alludes to the fact that, she didn't know that Ian was going to be killed. And she talks about how she
What if she's
kind of
one of
liked him.
Malik's like
Yeah,
bastard children?
Malik. Yes, that's what I'm thinking. That
So
she's like
more
a
like a
half
cousin.
sister or something.
No, a cousin. Because they
Well,
wouldn't
if
have the
she's
same
Malik and
dad.
Isbeth,
Oh, then yeah. They'd be like half sisters. Weird. But
somehow
yeah,
related. I think that this chick is somehow related to Poppy.
could be.
Moving on to Poppy's POV.
Okay. So this is she's talking with Vanetta about like Ian and when they
Oh,
met him in
yes. I
Asbestos
got that
End or
part too.
whatever. Um and so she says he was kind of flirty, but not in a creepy way. A small smile appeared briefly. When he came to Asbestos End looking for you, the guardians didn't want to let him leave, believing he was a threat. I watched over him, and he spent the time telling me a story about Stygian Bay and the temples of eternity. How many of the temples in Solus had been around since the gods walked the realm? They weren't just places of worship, but also places of profound power, able to neutralize gods. He also said that they were gateways to Elysium where gods ferried mortals through.
Mhm.
She picked up a braid, running it between her fingers, which I don't think is remotely true. Well, I do. But
Mhm.
what he said was interesting. He had a way of telling the story where you couldn't help but get invested in it. I mean, he had me totally hooked on this tale about a girl
Mm.
picking flowers who had been startled by a god falling to her death from some cliff. Anyway, Ian told me that he used to tell you stories too when you were lonely or upset, or when he was bored, which he claimed was often. I knew that story. Satora, I can't remember how they pronounced
Satoria.
it, Satoria,
Satoria.
and the
Hmm.
Cliffs of Sorrow.
Yeah.
So Ian knows about all this stuff, or
Right?
did
He
know
knows
about
a
all this stuff.
lot. Or he did. Yeah,
And
did.
I think there was so much he was trying to tell everybody or
Yeah.
get the word out in any way possible. And if he was always telling these stories, like how much did he know? But if his mom was a handmaiden that like basically didn't want to be a handmaiden anymore and run away,
Uh,
what did she know? What did she tell him? What did he learn? What did
well,
he find in the books and stuff like that? You know what I
yes.
mean? But
And
see,
the
right
revenants, the
here,
handmaidens, they lived like they were old. Like she
they're
says, like
old.
Callum was old. Like, how old was Coralina if she was really his mom? Was
Hmm.
she even around possibly during what we learned in Shadow in the Ember in the Flesh and
Hmm.
Fire series? And yeah,
Hmm.
what did Ian know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is kind of going back to, we were just talking about it. I don't remember why, but like, so the temples are
Hmm.
basically like portals or to Elysium, or gateways is what he says, to Elysium where
Yeah.
God ferried mortals through. So think about back to the original like the Flesh and Fire series, how we learned about
Uh-huh.
how those what is it, third and whatever
It
sons
was the
and
third.
daughters,
It was only the
yes,
thirds. Hmm.
actually did go to Elysium to go work for the gods and serve them as mortals. Remember, because she
Yeah.
meets one of them. I can't remember who, but
Yeah.
she meets one of them. Sarah does.
But they were all actually chosen.
Okay, chapter 8.
Chapter 8.
She has this weird dream where Castile is there. They're back in the what we were just talking about, the lake or the little
The
cavern.
the hot
The
springs in the
hot springs.
cavern
There we go.
at
The hot
Speth's
springs.
End.
They're not at the lake, they're at the hot springs.
Yep.
Okay. So yes. And she has this weird dream, and Castile's there. And then they're like, this feels real.
Really,
And then
really real.
Castile
I
has
can
like this like
smell you. I can actually
realization,
feel you. Like,
yeah, moment of heartmates. And
yep.
then like the dream goes away, and you can hear like chains in the background or something like that.
She
And
can
then she
smell
wakes
like the
up.
stale air. She can see the gauntness in his face. She can see the wounds on him. And then
Hmm.
she wakes up. Uh-huh.
Yep. And then, so of course, Kieran wakes up because he's been with her every night.
Right.
And he thinks that heartmates, he said something about how he remembered his dad saying something about how heartmates can walk into each other's dreams
Yep.
or like dream walking. So, fourth
Makes me
wing.
think of another series that we're
Oh
reading.
shit.
But
I shouldn't have
yes.
said that. I might have to take that part out. But
Hey, you're good.
yes. Um, and so yeah, so that happens, right?
Hmm.
So we are still in this Messenia castle or whatever. I want to say,
Massine.
yeah.
Massine.
Um, and then there's like the ground shaking. This was like right after this too.
It was
Like
literally right. Like she wakes up, she's telling Kieran about the dream, and then this
they're
happens.
having this conversation, and then this happens. Like there's earthquakey type stuff. The ground's shaking like
Well, and like
crazy shaking.
right before this happens, she feels like this oily,
Oily
yucky
sensation. Yes.
emotion feeling.
It makes me
Hmm.
feel like when my kids get slime out. That's what I thought of.
Oh, I
Okay.
love slime. I know I'm one of
I
those weird moms. Like we make slime. I love doing slime with the boys.
my both my kids gag and I gag and we don't do slime, but somebody says it's something awakening, which made me think like,
Hmm.
is this a God thing? Because like
That's
we
what I
had
thought
like
at
the
first too.
earthquakes and stuff like that with
Yep.
I want to say first book. Let's just pretend when Eos comes and saves her from
When
walking off the cliff.
yes. Uh-huh.
Um, and then like there's lightning and everything, and then there's Draken up in the sky, and 16 Draken die out of the
Yeah, okay,
sky.
so why did the dragon go and fly off into the lightning storm?
Um,
I feel like either skimmed that part or it just was very unclear.
I think it was unclear. because I don't know either.
I
But
was like,
all
what
I
was
know
the
is they were
purpose
up
of
in the
that?
sky because I think she was
Okay.
trying to tell them to come down, but didn't tell them fast enough. Yes. And then that's where he tells her that she can't save him because that she can't save the Draken because they walk up two worlds, just like
Yep. She
she
can't
wouldn't be
save
able to save
beings
the
that walk in
Wolven.
between two worlds.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so she's like thinking about it and she's like, it's that crazy old bitch.
Yeah. Well, she
um,
recognized the smell of like it's really strong, the smell of stale lilacs in the air of this quote unquote storm,
yep.
basically. And then she remembers that that's how she smelled. And then she's like, "Oh my God,
Yeah,
it's
how she was
Vesa."
waiting, how she was waiting for death or something like that.
Yeah.
Remember? Waiting for you, waiting for death. And so she knew that she was behind it. So she goes and finds the crazy old bitch. And she's basically like summoning whatever this is. I think she's summoning death. Does that make
Well,
sense?
because Reaver says it's Reaver because Reaver goes,
Oh, maybe
"It's an
yeah.
awakening. It's an awakening of death." And that's when Poppy goes, Vesa said that she was waiting for death. That's when she then runs into Vesa's room and she opens the door. And then there's like this reddish black smoke that comes out of the door and this like chokingly strong smell of stale lilacs. And then Vessa's literally standing in the middle of a circle of her own blood. Her wrists are slit, basically, and she made a circle of her own blood and she's like summoning this storm. And then Vesa says, quote, "Death has come for you."
The essence of the primal of death is what she says is within her, right?
Yeah.
And I also
Because
have go ahead.
Reaver says that Vesa smelled like, quote, the death, the essence of
Mhm.
death.
The
Mm-hmm.
essence of death, yeah. And then so like she's talking with Reaver, and he tells them that Ethos and Niktos, no, wait, no. Ethos and Niktos made the mortals, the third children. Um, they made the mortals, right? With the his part of his flesh and his fire, right? That's how they made the mortals, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that these third children may have this non-dormant, because they all have like this essence. The third children, for whatever reason, have this essence of life in them or something like that.
Some of them, not all of them.
But
I
not
actually
all.
have this
No,
quote.
they have it, but it's not all. Some of it is dormant, some of it is not.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Not all of
they
them
all
have
have it. They have
this.
it, but may not be able to like
Use it.
use it.
Right.
Yes. And so the ones that can use it um can become these revenants or whatever, right?
Right.
And then only a drop of Draken blood is what is needed to kill a revenant. So keep
Right. It
that in
doesn't
mind,
have
my
to just be the
friends.
fire. It's just like
It
a
can be a
drop.
drop of
Well,
Draken
because,
blood.
and that information came because Reaver was talking about Jadis and how she's probably dead
Yeah.
because of Isbeth. How Isbeth probably killed her. And then Poppy was there's a good chance she could still be alive because when Isbeth killed Coralina, the only thing that can kill the revenants, Coralina was a revenant, is Drake and fire. So
Hmm.
we think Isbeth has Jadis. So she could have used Jadis to kill him. That's
Hmm.
when
He's like, it only
he's
takes a
like, no,
drop of
like,
Draken blood.
right,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be the fire, it could be the blood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chapter 10.
Okay.
So we have a war meeting with generals.
Yeah,
She
basically.
lays down the rules and the plans, right?
Yep.
And then just Valen
I know.
being there for her and just so supportive of her through a
He's
lot of
awesome.
this. I love him, and all I can say is he better not be evil, but why are his shields so strong?
Okay, I know. I really don't think he is, but that is the one thing that's weird about him. Why
Hmm.
won't he let her into his emotions?
So
Be meta.
chapter 11,
Mm.
we have another Castile point of view. And in walks I put clocked brother, but I'm gonna say it's cloaked brother.
Cloaked?
Um,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and a lot does happen, even though I didn't put much in there, but like he heals his wound and everything. Um, and then we do find out that Poppy's dagger was made from Malik's woven, I can't remember her name, but her bones.
It was Prila,
Prela. Okay.
which we had originally thought that Shay or Shaya, however her name is, was Malik's bonded. Remember? That's what we thought.
No.
Yeah, because
Oh
Shaya was
yeah.
engaged to Cass, But we thought maybe she was Malik's bonded, but she
Yeah,
was
but she was
not.
not.
So we learned, this is the first time we learned that Malik's bonded Wolven was actually this chick named Prila. So
Yeah,
go
and
ahead.
they kind of talk about how like that betrayal
Yeah.
from Shea and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he's basically saying about how like the handmaiden is good and you know, not to worry
He
about the crazy
denies having
handmaiden.
feelings for her, but I still think he does.
I think he does
Because
too.
I said that originally when she had the night stabber
Uh-huh.
to prove her point that they could come back to life. That was the only time Malik flinched. And
Yep.
you thought maybe he wasn't actually in on Isbeth's plans, and I thought maybe he had feelings for her. I think he
Yeah.
has feelings for her.
And then I know you kind of have a quote for it, but I was
I
like,
do.
yeah, I think that Malik and Poppy have met. And then so that's why
Yes,
I think he's the shadow dude from her
I
dreams.
know. I do have that quote. So Malik says, "It was always about you. I came to Oak Ambler prepared to negotiate for you." This is Cass talking to Malik.
Mhm.
"Poppy came to Oak Ambler prepared to do the same, and she didn't even know you." A strange look crossed his features, pinching his brow. "No, she didn't know me." He folded the gauze covering the wound. "Or at least that's what she remembers." My head
Mhm.
tilted. What does that mean? "You'll understand soon enough." Malik tucked the tail of the gauze under the wrapping. "I have a feeling you will be reunited with your queen sooner rather than later." So very cryptic, but he makes it
Mhm.
seem like she doesn't remember because she was 4 during that whole stuff
6.
that happened with the Craven attack and her parents and the Dark One.
Yeah.
I think he is the Dark One
I think so
because I think
too.
she was supposed to remember that. He's been held captive for potentially 100 years.
Yeah.
So this was only 18 years prior.
And what if he
Plenty
has
of
like some type
time.
of shadowy magic type
Well,
shit?
and when he comes into CCAS, he's not supposed to be there. The only way he knows that he's there is because of the Revenant chick, whatever her name is, who came before. She also was not supposed to be there.
Do you remember how she washed some symbols off her arms and stuff too?
Yes. Yes.
Chapter 12.
Mm-hmm.
So back to what I was talking about. So Lila, the goddess of peace and
Yes.
vengeance, wore white armor like she has on because she's basically like, I'm gonna wear this white armor, this white dress, whatever that Nail made for her.
Because
So
she
that the
wants to
people
appear as the maiden.
wants to appear as the maiden to these people that wouldn't basically give a shit about an Atlantean queen coming in, right?
Well, because
Uh,
they had idolized the maiden, because the maiden had been thrown around as
yep.
like the god's chosen one and the savior and all these
Yeah. So
things
if she's
from the
coming in,
Ascended.
she's the one doing this,
Mm-hmm.
she's the one giving them the chance and taking away the
Yeah.
evil, basically.
Right.
So yeah, so she's sitting here talking with Valen or whatever. And he's basically like, yeah, I knew some of this, but I didn't know all of this. And he's like, I have regret and I'm sorry for that. But I'm not asking for forgiveness. Oh, he
Well,
says,
because she's talking to Valen at this point.
yeah, that's what I said. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Sorry. I missed that.
And he says, I have a lot of regret. So does my wife. I don't ask for forgiveness, and neither would Alonia. Um, and then she says, then what is it you're asking for? And he says, nothing. His gaze met mine again. I just wanted you to know the truth. I didn't want that to go unspoken between us. I swear to God, if this man dies
He's
and we
going to.
don't get closure, I know, I think so too. But I don't want to say it because it always happens. And if we don't like get actual closure with this, I'm gonna be pissed.
He's gonna
He's gonna
die.
die at some point,
He
but
is.
I was
They
so
made too
worried.
big of a point of it in
I was
this
like checking
chapter.
where he was all the time. I was like, okay, Valen's still here. I see Valen, we're good.
I know.
Chapter 13.
Mm-hmm.
So we're riding up to the gates and whatever. My husband's making fun of me in the background. They're coming up to the gates or whatever. They have all the Wolven hidden, they have the army hidden. They see a whole bunch of people leaving, like 100 or so.
That was 1,000
Um, no, there's only like 100 or so outside of the gates.
at
They
first.
can, yeah,
Yes.
they can
Yep.
hear
Okay, you're
screaming and
right.
stuff coming from inside the gates.
Yep. 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 You're right.
Um, and they're all like, there's like some people that are like, give this to my little boy or whatever. We just had a right.
Mm-hmm.
And so that would be like the second right
Which is
in,
weird
yeah, which is super weird.
because they don't usually have two within a year.
Yep.
Like they can go years and years without a right. So
Yep.
2 within 1 year, really weird.
And so all
Within
these
months
people,
of each other, actually.
yeah, and then so all these people are popping up like, okay, like let our kids know that we'll be back for them, like we'll come back for them, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So they get in, basically the guards are dicks, and so she's like, Reaver, blow him up. And so he comes in and he like fires a shit out of it, and then that's when they find like those thousands of people behind the gates. And that's moving into chapter 14. But yes, so there's thousands of people will be saved is what they keep saying, because these are all people that were trying to escape. So then obviously they get them out, and then that's when battle ensues, which I love this book. This is like some of the best battle scenes I've ever read, and I love them. They're descriptive.
Even the small ones are very good.
Even the small ones. Yep. Really good. Love this author. Can't wait to read more of her books.
Yeah.
So they get into the castle. So one of the guards outside of the castle rise. So there's like the second rise inside, like around the castle or the manor or whatever. Or castle Red Rock.
There's like the rise that goes around the town, and there's the rise that goes around the like manor / castle that the Ascended stay in.
Yeah. And so there's like a young kid or whatever. He's like, I'll take you to him there. And he's like, I surrender. I'll take you there. And so they get down. He's like, there should be guards right here in these tunnels or whatever. And they go down the hall, and they've all been like killed and stuff like that. And then the mist starts coming, which means the Craven are coming.
Yep.
So chapter 15, we have a special guest, my husband. So just ignore his commentary in the back. Chapter 15. So we have the Craven. They're coming in. They're now fighting all these Craven. And one of the women, who I forget his name, but he basically runs into
Arden. The guy
Arden.
Originally that I was like, who the heck is this person? But
oh yeah,
Arden.
He's the one that yeah. She's starting to get to know him or whatever, but she didn't get to know him real well. And he dies, obviously, and she tries to save him, and she can't. And like now she's like pissed, and she's like, find the Ascended. So they're going and they're looking for the Ascended. They can't find them, but they're like, there is something you should see, even though we don't want you to see this. There's something you should see. And I'm just gonna leave it as there's a message for her, very specifically for her. But the Ascended have escaped, and they're wondering if they got out through the tunnels that like they had snuck into when they came the first time in the last book. And then so basically battle's pretty much over. They're just kind of taking whatever, I guess not necessarily hostages, but whoever is still remaining that didn't surrender. And they go into this temple, which is the Temple of Theon. And there's the priests and stuff in the temple, and the one priest is like talking about the prophecy of the true king,
Fremont,
which,
or whatever.
which they're thinking is like Malik. But once again, I'm still like, okay, are they talking about Colas?
And then we move into chapter 16.
Yeah. So the priestess wants to show them where the children are. They go to the tomb, and I'm just gonna leave it at that. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, if you guys have read it, obviously you know what we're talking about. That was awful. Freaking awful.
But before they get to the tomb, there's this big gigantic hole, which is like a deep well, right? And later they talk about how somebody was like throwing rocks and stuff in there, and they never heard them hit the ground or something.
It's really deep.
But there's like roots coming out of it and stuff like that. And this is under the temple. The Shadowstone Temple
of Theon,
like I was talking about earlier, like the portals or whatever. And so they all oh wait, what is this? Oh, so before basically they deletes off the earth, the priestess, she says, they all served a great purpose, just like we all do, as you will, the one whose blood is full of ash and ice. And my thought was like, I know I heard you quote it once or twice before in this section. So, but this was my thought. Like, this is new, right? The one whose blood is full of ash and ice. Like,
this is
specifically
new.
saying it to her.
We heard it in the Flesh and Fire book. That was actually the first time we heard it, was in our
Did we?
last.
Okay, maybe
Yes.
that's what I'm thinking
That's
of.
when when Penelope is talking, like the goddess Penelope is talking of the
Hmm.
prophecy. That's the first time we hear of this whatever ash and ice thing.
Yeah,
This is the
blood is full
first
of
time
ash
though
and
that
ice.
Poppy hears of it. This is the first time we
Okay,
hear in this series. Like if we hadn't read Flesh and Fire, this would be the first time.
okay. That's what I was kind of trying to figure out.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so then this is at some point later, and she's been healing people that she could, and she's talking with one of the wolven that has an arrow through her leg, and she seems like she's cool as hell.
I
I
can't
can't
remember what her
remember her
name
name,
is.
but
Sage.
so
It's Sage.
Sage, yeah. And so it's just her and Nail and Sage. And Reaver walks in, and he's got like this sheet that he's like got over him or whatever.
Yeah,
And
nodded, but barely.
yeah. And Sage is like oogling over him or whatever. And then so Poppy goes, "We need to find some clothing for you. Um, like as soon as possible.
Hmm.
We need to find a lot of clothing," because she's thinking about the other Drake, and she's like, "Oh, they need clothes too."
Yeah.
And then he said, "You people and your concerns about nudity is tiresome." And then Sage goes, "I have absolutely no problem with nudity." Just thought
Yeah.
I'd share. And I was laughing because it's just the way Penelope is always blushing at the nudity parts, just
Hmm.
has me laughing my ass off. And I'm pretty sure it's just in here for comedic relief, and I love that.
Totally.
Um, so anyway, she's like almost passes out after this, right? And Reaver's like, "Have you even eaten yet? Like, you got to be hungry, right?" And so they go into the kitchen, and they're eating half of a pig, as Poppy would say. And they're just doing a lot of like talking about like the consort and stuff like that, and just saying about how she's similar or she'd like you kind of stuff. And he goes, or Poppy goes, "Why does the consort sleep so deeply when Nikos doesn't?" And he says, "It's the only way to stop her."
Yep.
Yeah. And then
I have that full quote because that's how the chapter ends. Um, I have a theory.
okay.
Okay. So they keep talking about how Malik, if he's been entombed and all this stuff, they keep saying like if he was freed, basically, from this, he would be a shell, barely a shell of his former self.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way to get him to like be
Strong again.
strong
I see where you're
again,
going with this. Yeah.
right, would be to feed and feed and feed and feed. And he would need so much in order to become even a piece of what he was before. So the priests and priestesses keep talking about how, because Poppy's like, don't lie to me. Don't tell me that these third sons and daughters, you keep having, you had two rights. You had people give over their kids twice within months of each other. Don't tell me that they're actually serving the gods or whatever. They're just being fed upon. They're prey, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, the priests and priestesses are like, no, they truly are serving a purpose. And they keep talking about the true king. This is why I think it's Malik. They keep talking about this. And she keeps talking about how she will read their emotions and she doesn't feel guilt from them or remorse or anything. It's just peace. They truly believe that they are serving this greater purpose. They are serving this true king. So they took all these kids, basically, twice within months of each other. And they talk about how Malik would need to
Oh
feed and
yeah.
feed and feed and feed.
Well, like, and on that, like, think about how they were talking about how all the Craven and stuff, they were
Mm.
alive hours before.
Yes, they were fresh.
Yeah.
A gruesome way to put it, but
Interesting.
that's what they keep saying.
Yeah.
So my theory is Malik has become freed. Somehow, someone has freed him. Or he freed himself. I don't know. But Malik is out there. Maybe Isbeth doesn't know yet that he's out there. I don't think she does. But I think he's out there. And I think that they even had the second right to get more feed, basically, as dark as that is. for him so that he could become somewhat back to his former power and strength. That's why I think they have done this. Because what other purpose would there be? Okay, so the very end of chapter 16, quote from Reaver. When it comes to the consort and the choice to act or not, she would weigh the concerns, toss them aside, hope no one was paying attention, and just do it. Totally Poppy.
Mm-hmm. 100%.
Dusky lashes lifted as he gave me a sideways glance. Sound familiar?
Mm.
No, I muttered, and Reaver chuckled, the sound just as rough as the laugh. Why does the consort sleep so deeply when Nyktos doesn't? Reaver looked down at his apple, not speaking for several long moments. It's the only way to stop her. And then I'm going to roll into 17 because
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
literally
because
it
yeah,
continues.
yeah.
Reaver is still talking, and Reaver and Poppy are starting this conversation. So, Poppy, my brows flew up. This is 17. Stop her from what? From doing something she'd regret? Reaver said, Oh, from doing something she'd regret, Reaver said, and my stomach lurched. Both of her sons were taken from her. Neither may be dead, but neither are really alive, are they? No, they really weren't. She's angry, furious enough to forget who she is, enough to cause the kind of harm that cannot be undone. So,
Scorch the whole world.
yeah, basically. I mean, as a mom, I can understand that. I'm sure you can too.
Yeah,
So, like, yeah,
100%.
totally hear that.
I'd do it for less. Don't touch my kids.
Yeah, without powers.
Mm-hmm. So kind of moving on from that. So Kieran comes in, they have a little bit of a spat again, and it's just freaking hilarious. Those two are just like whose dick's bigger
The
all the time. Oh
best.
my God. That was my husband trying to hold in a sneeze, but I thought he laughed. I'm sorry.
Jeez. Yeah, I heard that one.
We have shit to do here. So anyway, so her and Kieran leave. I can't remember exactly what they're doing. Oh, so
Well, because
Delano,
Kieran came to get her because
yeah, because
Perry is
Delano's
in
worried about
pain.
Perry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because he took an arrow through the shoulder.
Yep, and he will heal, but could use some help. So they go up to this room and they find Delano reading Willa Collins' diary that Perry had found on the boat
Yep.
because that's the last place it was. Which back to it again, like I want to read her diary
Me
because I want to
too.
know. I know why you want to read it. I want information, man. Um, so then at some point she wakes up crying in the night again, and Kieran's there or whatever, and um she's screaming quietly so she doesn't wake anybody up,
Yes,
which is like
yeah.
really sad. And he's basically like, it's okay, you are my friend, we will get him back, we
Yeah.
will go get number 3 in our throuple and it'll be
Yeah.
okay. And basically she's like, okay, I don't want to become that, because she's thinking about like what Reaver said about the consort and everything.
Hmm.
And she makes him make her this promise, which I'm sure you probably have, that he will entomb her because Castile won't. Castile will just let her burn the world down.
Yeah.
And she's like, Kieran, you have to do this or whatever, you have to bury me deep down under the ground.
Mm.
Which, now that I just said that out loud, and what you said about Malik and the gigantic fucking hole under the temple makes so much
Yeah.
sense. But anyway, so yeah, he makes the promise, and now I'm scared that that will happen. He'll have to, like, I don't know, maybe put her to sleep like the gods are.
Hmm.
Maybe not necessarily entomb her, but
I know, I know. I'm worried about it too. But he does make the comment where he's like, it's not going to come to that. Simply because I don't believe you will let yourself turn into that. You're
yeah,
too good. You're not gonna turn. But
I
it
know. But
still
because it's
worries
in
me.
there,
I
and
know. I
kind of like the
know.
whole, like, we're pretty sure like Valen's gonna die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
Well, damn.
I don't know. If they get cast back and all this stuff, she'll be better. Should be good.
Hopefully. And it sounds like maybe we'll get him back soon.
I think we're gonna get him back
Which
soon because the next step so they've taken Oak Ambler. The next step I'm sure we're gonna learn about in
is,
our next chapter chunk
yeah,
is they're going to
the new
Carcedonia.
the new thruple's going.
Yeah, they're going to Crestonia and they're gonna
which
hopefully save him, or
I
I don't know.
I hope we get like road trip scenes though,
Oh,
because
I'm
like
sure
I
we
said,
will.
with Reaver and Kieran,
Kieran.
just like the whole who's dick's bigger thing and all that, it's gonna be hilarious. And she's just gonna be sitting there playing mom.
Yeah, I know.
Like, I
Who
swear to
has
God,
bigger
it's
shoulders and who doesn't
right.
skip leg day?
Well, oh, then what was it? Like, well, he stepped on my tail. Well, he tried to bite my arm off.
Yeah, it's like, no, he didn't step on my tail. He basically stepped on my whole leg. Well, he
And
tried to
then he's
bite my
like, he
hand.
didn't
No, it
bite my
wasn't my
hand.
hand, it was my whole
He almost bit
arm.
my arm off.
I know, the two of
Funny as
them are so
shit.
funny.
It's just like two little kids.
Yeah.
Although,
All right.
I can't wait. But
Anything else?
I think we should be done.
All right. So we hope that you all are enjoying this series as much as we are. We are first-time readers to the series, so we hope that you follow along with us. Or if you've already read the series, we hope that our discussion can be a refresher for you before book 6 comes out in September. Make sure to join us on Facebook and Instagram for more fun and conversations.
As well as our club on the Fable app, where you can discuss with us spoiler-free chapter by chapter. The next episode will be book 4, which is this one.
Yep.
In the Blood and Ash series by Jennifer Armentrout, The War of Two Queens, chapters 18 through 33.
If you're enjoying reading along with us or just enjoying our conversations and theories, be sure to like this video and hit that subscribe button on your way out.
And buddy reading any book with book besties is so much fun.
So make sure to share our podcast with your book besties. And if you don't have any book besties,
And consider yourself one of ours. And until next time, fill those drinks with ice.
and your books with spice.
Bye.
Bye.